Hello, Saitlanders, how are you? I've installed or changed some light bulbs to improve the lighting in this place, and uh, I've discovered that the one is too bright for nighttime. So if I turn it on, it's like a pale wizard in a blizzard. I read that expression in a comic book 40 years ago, and I've never forgotten it. So my apologies for the dimness. It was either the blazing bright white light or this slightly dim effect. I've got the fan running, and that explains the shadows in the background. I hope that it doesn't annoy people too much. Oh, goodness me, these dogs. Um, Eskom, it's a tiresome subject, and frankly, I wish that I didn't have to report on it, but it seems to me, after a bit of deliberation, initially I didn't want to. I thought, we've covered this thing, we've flogged this horse to death. But, in fact, there's more, and it's worse. This is from Business Tech. Alarm bells ringing at Eskom. Embattled power utility Eskom has revised its energy outlook for the next year, showing red across the board. The group's latest Generation Adequacy Report provides an outlook for energy supply over the next 52 weeks, including the risk of shortages over the period. The forecast covers demand versus the available generating capacity for each week and is color-coded to indicate what the utility expects. This goes from green, no shortage, to red, worst case. Unfortunately, the group's, Eskom's, outlook is red across the board. The latest outlook differs greatly from previous reports in that the unplanned outage assumption, the assumption of how much unplanned outage there's going to be, has been pushed higher by over 16% to 15,000 megawatts from 13,000 megawatts. While the planned risk level have also been pushed high, planned risk level and likely risk scenarios. I don't know what likely risk scenario means. To 17,200 and 18,700 megawatt respectively, indicating a deterioration. Under the previous assumptions, if Eskom was able to keep outages below 13,000 megawatts, the country would not be experiencing load shedding at all. So we've heard, we've seen, we're reading here that the unplanned outage assumption is 15,000 megawatts. The planned risk level and the likely risk scenario, whatever that really means, to 17,000 and 18,000. But under the previous assumptions, if Eskom was able to keep outages below 13,000, and clearly we're talking about numbers a long way from 13,000, the country would not experience load shedding at all. With outages at 16,000 or above, Eskom projected that load shedding would be at stage 4 for most of the year. Wait, it gets much better or worse, as the case may be. In reality, Eskom has struggled to keep unplanned outages below the 16,000 megawatt level. So Eskom was saying at 16,000, it would just be stage 4. 13,000, nothing. 16,000, stage 4. But in reality, they haven't been able to do that. And their own scenario planning is suggesting much higher numbers. 17,200, 18,700. The South African Reserve Bank has revised its growth projections for South Africa GDP growth, gross domestic product, the value of all of the products and services generated in South Africa in any given year, all put together, has revised its growth projections, South Africa, to just 0.2%, with the bank estimating 250 days of load shedding this year. Now, it starts to get tasty. Eskom's outlook, however, is far, far bleaker than that. We quote. And there are obviously 52 weeks in the year. I have them in front of me. There are no greens, no yellows, and one yellow. Let me go back a step. In the planned risk level. The planned risk level. The level of risk that they would like to plan around. We believe we're going to have this much drama. We believe, we're not going to have much control of that. And then we've got to take this offline. And goodness me, last year we spent 100,000 million hours on maintenance, and we've got to... So we're planning on this amount of risk. Week by 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 week. Which, as we learned earlier when I didn't understand it, is 17,200. And so that's what they're planning on. 17,200 megawatt missing every week. Right. According to that scenario, there are no greens, so they miss the target. There is one yellow and 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 weeks of orange. No greens, one yellow, 11 weeks of orange. 11 and 1 is 12, from 52 is 40 weeks of in the red. In terms of the likely risk scenario, so we're planning for this, but the reality is we know we're wrong. That's what it means. This is our plan, but this is what's likely. We know our plan is unlikely. It's 52 weeks of red. 52 weeks of severe shortages. Board Chairman Mpomagwana told the nation in January that the group would restore its energy availability factor to 60% by the end of March. This did not happen. According to Eskom's latest projections, the group will barely scrape past 55% by the end of the year. In other words, he said by the end of March, we will ensure that 60% energy availability factor is attained. That means that 60% of Eskom's installed capacity, which is about 47,000 megawatts, would be available from the end of March. By the end of March, onward. But notwithstanding whatever rubbish he had to tell us, Eskom's latest projections suggest that the group will barely scrape past 55% by the end of the year. April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So the guy is 10 months and 5% out. And in fact, will likely average 53% for 2023. Down from the average of 58% energy availability factor in 2022. we covered this before. Analysis in March from Virtual Energy and Power Director Clyde Mallinson showed that South Africans are in store for a cold, dark winter, warning that Eskom must lift the fleet's capacity factor to at least 50%. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Must lift the coal fleet's capacity factor to at least 50% to prevent high levels of load shedding over the winter months. So I think what they're saying there is that the coal fleet, which carries the base load of South Africa's grid, must be running at a capacity on average of 50% of what is installed between all of the coal-fired power stations in South Africa to prevent high levels of load. If the power utility is unable to lift the coal-fired power station fleet's capacity factor to at least 50%, the country will likely see upwards of stage 6 load shedding during peak winter time. Now, here's a critical thing. This whole video really revolves around this one key point, I think. The analyst pointed out that Eskom's coal fleet managed to only operate at 40% in February, a summer month. If this was the same in June, load shedding would have to be pushed up to stage 11, a level that does not yet exist on the available schedules. June is a critical month as it is deep winter, where demand on the grid is usually at its highest. Energy experts have been warning for months that if the country's power situation does not improve by June, the country is likely to be thrown into much deeper stages of load shedding from June onward. Or in June. Previously, Eskom expressed some confidence by returning more power stations to service from planned maintenance. But the group was also banking on having Kuberg Unit 1 back in service. And you and I know from recent videos and a lot of stuff that I've posted on the WhatsApp groups that that has already failed. Do you see how quickly this thing is turned around? Just weeks ago, Paul Magwana was telling us, don't worry, it'll be okay, trust me, and the energy minister, minister of energy, minister of electricity, minister of power, minister of coal, minister of nuclear, minister of gas, between the bunch of us, 31st of March, baby, we'll be up to 60%, man. A few weeks later, Eskom's internal assessment, just a few weeks later, is saying, no. Can't do 60% by end of March. What we hope to do is 55% if you give us not 6 weeks or 4 weeks, if you give us 10 months to the end of December. You know, I've told you before, guys, that two of my best friends, they don't have solar or anything else. They've got a generator for extreme emergencies, but what they did was they're going to get solar, but they couldn't whenever. And so they got a UPS. You know, one of those old computer UPSs? Uninterruptible power supply. It's basically a battery. What they do is they top that battery up. So they've set it up so that, you know, it accepts power, it draws power, sucks power out of the household system, you know, from the plug, from the socket, when there is electricity. And then when there isn't, they draw from it. They plug whatever they need into the other side of it. You know, this kind of incoming and outgoing. And obviously it doesn't run stove, microwave, fridges, toaster, what am I forgetting? Geyser, washing machine, tumble dryer, spin dryer. Doesn't run the whole house's lights. But I was very impressed to discover, I beg your pardon, that it, during the blackouts, lasts throughout any blackout, can charge the phones, no problem, keeps the wireless connected, and it runs their big screen TV, and what's the other thing that I was thinking of? Oh, and a couple of lamps. So they sit comfortably in their, it's not a drawing room, it's like a library come study. Nice room, very cozy, very, 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 very convivial. And I thought to myself, it's great that I've got the solar. It's great that, I'm those 10 steps ahead of them in this one particular thing only, but still. But actually, anybody, absolutely anybody, can do the real basics with a UPS. Because UPSs are cheap. There's a second hand. UPS prices in South Africa. They range in price from $1,500 to $22,000. Their UPS is small. I don't know what it's cost, and it was second hand. Oh, here we go. $9.95, $1,400, $2,117. Not that money grows on trees. However, if you can pick up a second-hand UPS at Cash Crusaders or wherever, you may find that you and your kids can watch television, play on the telephones, do your WhatsApps, maybe even run a computer, perhaps not for 4 hours, but for 2.5, I don't know. Which just goes to show you that there are tremendous solutions that we often don't think of that really work. Limited, but in between times, your fridge and your freezer will refreeze and re-chill again. In between times, hopefully, it's convenient enough. You can cook. Or do like I did. I got one gas, I couldn't afford a gas stove. $4,000, $3,000 for a grotty one, $6,000, $8,000. I've got the microwave. I've got the solar system. Stove is too heavy for my solar system. So I got a 1-plate gas unit. And now what I do is, if I don't, use the microwave, or if I don't cook, when the sun is shining brightly off the solar or whatever, I boil rice on that one gas plate, put it one side, and then I'll fry eggs, fish, hamburger patties, chicken patties. If I fry fish in garlic and onions and then put it in the rice, I kind of mix it up a little bit, and I think they call it a kedgeree. I wouldn't know. I'm A for a way. And if I do an even better job and I boil veggies with the rice, mixed veggies, packet of mixed veggies, then I'm sorted. That's practically a proper meal. And again, it wouldn't kill me to boil the rice with veggies, boom, fish, hake fillet, not too expensive, with garlic and onions, put that one side, and then quickly boil some water and make a sauce. It really wouldn't kill me, even as a lazy bachelor. So, it looks like we're in for hard times. I just hope that this video, this message, has been helpful to some of you who may be struggling to cope, struggling to learn, struggling to understand, as I did for a long time. I was useless. I was nowhere. My brother's a beyond genius in this field. He's world famous. And I'd phone him with the dumbest of questions. I'm just not a technically gifted person. That's the truth of the matter. But now I'm starting to see that with one gas plate, and I only started doing it about 3 weeks, a month ago, something like that, maybe a little bit longer, a little bit before that, 5, 6 weeks, maybe I've lost track of time, but I don't think so. I think it's 3.5, 4 weeks. Between one gas plate and a UPS, which I don't have, but if that was all I had, I'd be more or less set. I really would. Between this laptop, my internet connection, that big screen television, a phone charger, one lamp. My friends run, I think, 2 in their cozy study. Really, how much would my life be compromised? How much would my lifestyle be brought down? The light in the toilet? That? What? It's nothing. The light in my bedroom? When I go into my bedroom, I'm going to get into bed and go to sleep. So I can't turn the bedside lamp on. Maybe I'll stub my toe. But is it, so much of our lifestyles are superfluous. Superfluous to real requirement. And I say that not to give you some sort of moral lesson, but to encourage people who are really battling to cope with these severe power cuts, to give you hope, to tell you that you don't have to have big spondulics. Between a gas bottle and a plate and a UPS, something that almost anybody can afford if they cut a corner here and take a shortcut there over a couple of months. Your life is not much different to Harry Oppenheimer's. It just really isn't. What does he have more than you? He's watching 2 TVs? He's working on 2 computers, one hand each one? Maybe with walleyes. No. One computer, one television. The only advantage Harry Oppenheimer has over you is that he can leave the light on in the toilet, which serves no purpose whatsoever. Whereas you have to, man, this thing cost me, in fact I should have, this thing cost me, I don't know, I can't even remember, 40 Rand or something. So I take this to the toilet. I take this to my bedroom. If the dogs perform outside, I can turn on the outside lights because I do have the solar. But if I didn't have, I could take the torch and go quick sticks, easy peasy. There we go, guys. We've been going for almost 25 minutes now. Thank you very much for watching this video. And I say from my heart, may God bless all of you, both you and yours, for your sake, ultimately for His sake, in the difficult times that lie ahead of us, that now indisputably, incontestably lie ahead of us in this year, next year, and the year after again, probably too. I wish you everything of the very best. Bye-bye.